Hey yo, what's good, guys? Welcome to Contrast Comedy. I'm one of your hosts, Teddy B.
And I'm Jerry Corley, aka the Joke Doctor.
And don't mind this guy right here. That's just our silent co-host, Kaiser the Entertainer. All right, y'all. Check out today's episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Peace out.
Peace out.
I want to share with you my Terrence Howard joke. I'm actually pretty proud of it because it's a better version than what I had sent you in the text.
Right.
Because I actually did more research on Terrence Howard, which is, again, you're right. You know, because it's always good to get the first draft on paper, get it on paper, get it out of your head. That's always good. But you're always right. Don't just go off of that initial thought. Dig deeper because you're gonna find something else. Do more research.
Yeah,
so I was doing that, and I was doing more research on Terrence Howard, and then I found out that this fool thinks that 1 × 1 = 2. So then it kind of put me into this whole nother realm. And then I did some more deep diving into this whole like Marvin Gaye thing.
First of all, I didn't know Terrence Howard did math.
And then I did some more further reading into like the like this whole Marvin Gaye thing, and that nobody in the world, like everybody, to everyone else, to us commoners, us normal civilized or us normal civilians.
I know. I was struggling with words last night. I was like, he's a monologuist. What the fuck? Monologist. I was doing that last night. That was funny.
So to all us civilians, freaking everyone thinks that Marvin Gaye is just, heterosexual. No gayness, no nothing. And this fool, like, just Terrence just straight out was like, yeah, no, I was talking to Quincy, and I was like, hey, Quincy, keep it real with me. Is Marvin Gaye? And Quincy, he was like, he's just trying to just try to, and I was like, no, man, just give it to me straight like a man. Is Marvin Gaye? And Quincy told me, yeah. So I was like, yo, I can't do that. Because that's how Terrence sounds. For him being such a macho man, he has such a soft tone when he talks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bro. Right.
So I was like,
and the fact that he brought it up, he's gay. He's in the closet. He's in the closet. He's totally like everybody else. If you spot it, you got it.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, the beauty of it all, and this is just thanks to your teaching of just like looking for the hypocrisy, looking for the for all that stuff, because I found it, and it hit me over the head. And so I came out with, so my first joke is, method actor Terrence Howard turned down the role of Marvin Gaye because he found out Marvin was, dare I say it, gay. Now, mind you, no one else in the world knows this. I scoured the internet. I read Marvin's Wikipedia 5 times. Nowhere did I find Marvin Gaye was gay. What I did find is the man went as far as adding an E at the end of his name not to be seen as gay. Is it me, or did Terrence Howard just kick Marvin Gaye's dead corpse out the closet? See, you got to be able to read between the lines of what people say. And look, when Terrence acts, he don't act. He fully surrenders to the character. So in between those lines, he's scared he'll surrender so hard, he'll end up a submissive bottom with a platinum grinder subscription.
Dude, yeah, I love it. That's great. Now do it. Read it. Now do it without reading it.
Do it without reading it.
Yeah.
All right.
Now don't even look at it. Just like you know where you're going with it. Because here's the key: is like when you're on. I love the flow because the flow sounds great. Now you want to make it your own without like I want to hear it. Just like talk it out. Like just as you were saying, he was on this thing with,
All right. So
right.
Method actor Terrence Howard was doing an interview with Bill Maher. And he turned down, and I found out.
Bill Maher. Oh, Bill Maher. Okay.
Bill Maher.
Yeah, Bill Maher. We just found out that Bill Maher's gay. We called him sucking the dick of Trump. Don't give me that. Don't normalize that piece of shit, you loser. Are you kidding me? Talk about a guy who's so afraid for his job. He just rolled. He rolled all of his integrity and all of his like strength. And remember, you're the guy who stood up and said, that during after 9/11 that oh that's not it's not brave. They're cowards flying into the World Trade Center. That's not a coward. That's the opposite of coward. Lobbing missiles from 1,500 miles away. And he's like, but that's not a coward. That's just launching missiles from 1,500 miles away. That's not being cowardice. That's being strategic, right? But there's a big difference. But he got booted from ABC for that. But at least he stood up for what he believed.
Hmm.
In this case, he's like, I got to go suck Trump's dick so I can stay on the air so Trump doesn't pick on me.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose that. He lost that ABC money. He ain't trying to lose that HBO money.
Well, he's got plenty of money. He's got plenty of money. But it's like here's a guy. It's like I was just so disappointed and it's okay if you went to dinner with the man. That's fine. But don't then get on the air
And then
and
say I should be considered a hero.
that was strategic. That was because Trump doesn't do anything unless he gets something out of it.
Hmm.
We know that because he won't do anything unless he gets something out of it. And basically, he looked for, hey, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go back to HBO and tell him what a good guy I am. And he did. He did his bidding. We know that. It wasn't just, I'm just going to talk out of the goodness of my heart and share with you he was totally groveling. And it's like, you know what? You lost me. I'm never turning your show on again. It's like you bailed. Would Bill Burr do that? No fucking
No.
way. Bill Burr shares what he thinks. We'll see. I don't know. People are doing some weird shit. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. So Terrence Howard, Bill Maher, fuck him.
Bill Maher, man.
See,
Yeah.
that's what. See what I did there is
Yeah.
went off script and I was sharing with you my feelings.
Hmm.
And so you have a good angle there. What's going on with with the Terrence Howard stuff? Now just share the story.
Share the story. All right. So method actor Terrence Howard turned down the role of Marvin Gaye because he found out that, dare I say it, Marvin was gay.
Okay.
Gay.
But he spelled it with an E.
But now mind you, no one else in the world knows this. Like I scoured the internet. Like I read Marvin Gaye's Wikipedia 5 times, and nowhere did I find that Marvin Gaye was gay.
And you needed help with the big words.
I did. I
So
had to
build
bring in
that
my
one in there.
6-year-old.
Five
So
times. Yeah, five times because I needed help with the big words.
What I did find out though is that, or nowhere did I find that Marvin Gaye was gay. But what I did find was that Marvin went as far as adding an E to his last name so he can dispel any rumors of him being gay. Now, I don't know, man, but it seems like to me Terrence Howard just kicked Marvin Gaye's corpse out the closet.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Everything was fine. He was resting in peace. Now he's resting in penises.
Now, you see, you got to be able to read between the lines with this shit. And see, I'm a habitual in between the line reader. So when I watched this interview and I saw Terrence and he was all like, nah. And Bill asked him why he turned down the role. And Terrence was like, look, I just don't fake it. I just don't act. When I act, I fully surrender to the character. So in between those lines, what he is saying is that he is so scared he's going to surrender this bottom with a platinum grinder subscription.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like this motherfucker over here sitting here saying he'd rather cut off his lips than kiss a man. But no, he's not homophobic. Like that's straight up like a white dad saying, I'd rather be dead than
we are getting some really choppy video.
A few moments later.
Yeah, so it's like, but even I want you to when you have that video, I want you to go back and look.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you're still reading, and I want to hear Teddy B voice come out because when you get into it, you get into it.
Yeah.
It's like right when you were telling me about it, I could feel the emotion, the nuance, and the conversation. As soon as you started to read it. That's when it kind of.
And when you say I'm trying to read it, it's like when I'm trying to remember it in my head,
mm-hmm.
cite it in my head.
Yeah, you know the nuance of it. It's like, you know what, man, this dude was like, And that's what we're like, because Bill Burr talks about that, right? He says because he was a one and two liner comic the first 5 to 7 years of his career,
Hmm.
and then he's somebody, I forget who the person was. Somebody told him just like bullet point the things you want to talk about and just get up and talk about them. And so you can do that too. However, you could also write the script and Terrence Howard that shit and completely surrender into the part. See these guys, I get it. You don't completely surrender into the part. When you completely that's some Jim Carrey's type shit where you're so into the part, you're playing the part 24/7, where your brain actually rewires synapses and you don't know who you are after the movie.
Yeah, Jared Leto does that shit too.
You don't do that. That's not what an actor does. An actor trains himself to use this as an instrument, right? To be able to
Yeah,
play it and then walk away from it. You got to be able to do that. Otherwise, you go crazy,
yeah,
right?
like
Because you
Jim.
do. Yeah. That he talks about that's some serious shit. When I was in acting, studying acting, actor studio level, the summer courses at Juilliard, you get some real amazing teachers at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute in L.A.
Hmm.
And I remember them emphasizing, don't. There's a difference between channeling and using your skill set that you're nurturing to recall memories, to have emotional recall, sense memory, substitution. And that's why we substitute, because we're not channeling. We're using this to call in emotions
Yeah.
by, pretend. I don't fake it. That's exactly what you're doing. You pretend, right? Now,
Yep.
I don't know, honestly, I don't know if I could kiss a dude, right? In an acting situation. Depends on the
Jake
money.
Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger did it.
Yeah, right.
It would have been nice if they would have won an award for it. Because then at first I thought they had won an award, so that's kind of how I originally wrote the joke. But then I actually did the research and I was like, oh shit, they never won an award for it. And I'm like, has anyone ever has any straight man ever won an award for going gay? Because there's this. I wanted to go the route of in Tropic Thunder, where Robert Downey Jr.'s character says, I went full retard. I went full retard. And they're like, you never go full retard. It's went full. Terrence is afraid of going full gay because no one's ever went full gay and won an Oscar.
That is so funny.
But the only one who's actually won an award for it was Charlize. She won hers. Tom Hanks was in Philadelphia, but I don't know if he ever kissed a man in it, but he would play the gay dude with AIDS. And then I'm trying to think, Sean Penn for Milk. But there's nothing
It
else.
It won a Golden Globe Award for Best Motion Picture.
What? Brokeback Mountain or
Yeah.
Milk?
No, Brokeback.
Yeah, but
It won a Golden Globe Award for Best Screen.
Win an award because any actor would probably I would think that Terrence would want to he would put that prestige over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll get if it means I get an award. But that fool, I think he's done with acting, and I think acting's done with him.
Who, Terrence?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought there. Yeah. So it won a lot of stuff. Like it won. I think Gyllenhaal won a Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. He won a BAFTA for that.
Oh, he did win a BAFTA for
I
it?
think like the BAFTA was like we got to give it to him because that was he shouldn't have gotten passed up. Like I remember my friend Dave Connolly, his student, right, and he's also a director. He's got a couple of good films and a television show. It was Cooper's Bar. And so Dave's he was actor he was acting in the UK, and he did a play, and he was playing a gay character. And everybody thought he was gay because he says, you want to see my my winning scene?" And he won an award for it. He goes like, "How can something so wrong feel so right?" Fade to black. So actually, he's like, that was one of the scenes he had to do. So think about that, like as an actor, what commitment are you willing to make, right? So, and look, I'm I'm not tolerant. I don't even think about it. I don't give a shit what people do behind their doors. I don't
Mhm.
care if dudes are gay or straight. I have no credentials to judge somebody else's love. Now, if I was getting paid, I would consider, I don't know, it depends. I would consider the role, and I don't know if I could
Well, I
I
mean,
could do it.
they could CGI freaking what's his nuts? Oh my god, why can't I think of his chubby dude? We were making fun of him because he's was using the sex he was in super bad. He was my god, why can't I think of his name right now? Oh, Jonah Hill. If
Right,
they can
right.
freaking sit there and CGI Jonah Hill kissing what was that black chick? Was it Lauren London? I don't know who the see. I should be knowing these things, but if they could CGI freaking Jonah Hill kissing this chick, they could CGI some two dudes kissing. He's like, come on, bro, it's where that's where the money's at.
Yeah,
But
but
nah,
that's
man.
where also you CGI that shit, you're gonna get some blowback if it comes out, right? Who knows? You can't. You're
Well, the thing
damned
is,
if you do, damned if you don't.
and that's the thing. It's because he's black, and in the black culture, we have this thing. I rather that's the straight up some real life, some real black shit right there. Where black men will sit there. I'd rather be dead than to have sex with a man, or I'd rather do
Oh,
anything
and
else
then you go
than
to
to
a
do
Diddy
that.
party, right? Oh, fuck that
Well, no,
nonsense.
he's
Oh,
he's never he's hands down never been to a Diddy party because he knows what goes on. He even has a story. He has a similar story to 50 Cent where Diddy had sat there and tried to invite, or Diddy had invited Terrence over to a couple of places, over to his house a few times. Terrence came over. He wanted Terrence to read for him, so Terrence read some lines for him for a movie or some shit like that. And he's all like, "Diddy just stared at me." Then he wanted him to listen to some of my music, and then Diddy was just staring at me. And it got to the point where he invited me to go somewhere else. It's always in threes. Always happens in threes.
yep.
He invited me to go somewhere else, and I was talking to my assistant at it, and I was like, "Yo, what's up with all this? Like, why did he always?" And my assistant's like, "He's trying to fuck you." And I was like, "Yo, I'm done. I'm done." That's what Terrence straight up said.
Well, yeah, man. I guess exactly. I don't fucking know, man. These guys, too
But
much
Terrence
shit.
he's a trip though, man. He's such a trip. And then to sit there and it's like this is what happens. This is the thing that happens to sometimes with famous people where they get too famous, where it's like they just think they can run shit now. Where this motherfucker is literally out there saying that 1 × 1 = 2, and that math is flawed, and that multiplication misrepresents reality because in real life, anything that you multiply by itself should increase, but it should increase and not decrease or stay
All
the
right.
same.
All
And
right.
I'm like,
Now
bro, what the fuck?
I've got some let's talk about this because I just did a quick search, right?
Uh-huh.
um and I got I, I have some information. Terrence Howard reveals shocking encounters with P. Diddy. We've got it said that Terrence Howard's allegations against Diddy. Wait a second. He said he's trying to fuck you. Terrence Howard does not hold back when sharing alleged story. All right, so that's Cinema Blend. Terrence Howard claims Sean Diddy Combs tried to have sex with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't bend over in that way. So it says it does say this. I asked ChatGPT, Terrence Howard ever go to a Diddy party? And it said, yes, Terrence Howard has attended at least one of Sean Diddy Combs' parties. In a recent interview with a PBD podcast, Howard recounted being invited to a Diddy under the pretense of providing acting coaching.
Yeah,
However, Howard claimed that during these meetings, Diddy exhibited behavior that made him uncomfortable,
just
leading
staring
Howard to
at him.
believe that Diddy and Diddy's intentions were not purely professional.
Mm-hmm. Just trying to fuck him. Trying
Wait
to
a
fuck
second.
him.
Wait a second, bro. You're telling me you don't know this already? You're telling me you didn't know about the Diddy parties before and what went down? Like you're going in to be an acting coach? Come on. You're not that good an actor.
That's what I'm saying.
I've seen Empire, bro. Yeah, all right.
Only movie you good in was Hustle and Flow, bro. That's about it.
That's it. Oh
You
my
couldn't even
God.
keep the bag with Disney so you can be in Iron Man Part 2.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle, you had to get the darky Don to come take your place, you light skinned motherfucker.
But like it's like that's so funny to me because it's like it reminds me of Philip Michael Thomas.
Uh,
You remember Philip Michael Thomas?
I get is Philip. That's does he kind of look like Philip C or Philip or there's Philip Hoffman or wait
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
or wait there's Philip Seymour Hoffman or there's Philip Seymour like because there's two white dudes that kind of look alike. There's Hoffman and then there was the one that died like a few years ago or maybe a decade
Well,
ago.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was the dude, fantastic actor, died the heroin overdose, right?
Yes,
Just an amazing actor. There's nothing that was outside this guy's
he was
ability.
good.
Damn good. First time
Yeah.
I actually saw him was on Twister, the original one. I was like,
Uh-huh.
who is this quirky actor? I love him. He's a 100% that dude, right? And then I see him in another one. Then I see him play a CIA officer in what was it? Charlie Wilson's War. And I was like, oh man, this guy's good at whatever he does. And then he was in Doubt, where he played a priest. And I was
Mhm.
like, fucking hey, man, this is Philip Seymour Hoffman. Miami Vice.
Oh, you mean Michael Thomas,
Yeah. No, Philip. Yeah, Philip Michael Thomas. Yes.
the
Philip
black dude,
Seymour Hoffman.
right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, dude.
All right, no, because the other one's Don Johnson,
That's Don Johnson, right?
right?
So every time right?
Like shit, dude. Who else would it be? Come on,
But look at
Teddy.
Don Johnson. He's got such a tan. He's almost black, right? And so
Good old Nash Bridges.
Philip Michael Thomas was like, I remember seeing him on a Don Johnson's a good actor, right? And he's like, he's not a bad actor. He can hold a role. I haven't seen him in a while. What's he doing? Right? But Philip Michael Thomas, such a bad actor. I mean, I remember hearing
If
a
you put
video.
a wig on him, he could probably pass as a woman.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And I remember seeing a video, seeing an interview with him, and they were asking him about his like career and stuff like that. He goes, "I just have to thank and you're expecting to thank God, right? Right. I have to thank God for for the fortune and the blessings He's bestowed upon me." He goes, "I just have to thank my talent." I was like, "What? My God-given talent that I'm so good as an actor." I was like, "Oh, dude, wow, you're kidding yourself. Who? You're not even. Have you watched an episode, bro? Have you taken a look and gone, oh man, I am a bad actor. I better get in some acting classes." Because he was on that show. How many seasons? That was a lot of seasons.
It was
He was on there for a while, and it was like seasons 1 through 5. So 5 seasons.
5 seasons. Wow.
You're not going all year. You could take the acting classes in between, find out how to connect, how to pretend at least that you're good.
Not,
But he was
not
so
one
bad.
damn movie role. That show was hot.
Yeah,
Hot for
I would
5
love
seasons. Not one damn
right,
movie role.
not
from it.
one movie role. Now there are some guys that are not that great as actors, and there was a guy who played Sipowicz on NYPD Blue, and what the hell? Shit. I know I should
Not the redhead. Not Caruso.
not David Caruso.
The short, stocky dude.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Dennis Franz.
Yes.
So Dennis Franz, not a fabulous actor, but he knows it.
And plays into it.
Yeah, I remember meeting him on the set of when my dad was on that show.
Your dad was on NYPD Blue?
Yeah, he got he played the Wally Neidorf on NYPD Blue. So he got he played a coroner.
Had a recurring role.
Oh no, it was that was Hill Street Blues. Sorry, Hill Street Blues. So he played a coroner on Hill Street Blues. So if he blew, he killed it. That was the one I told you that Jeff Bridges said he was going to steal his bit. He's going to steal his moves. Right? It's like because when it's in a movie like with where Jeff Bridges played, there was a football movie.
Mhm.
My dad. That's my dad right there playing
There it is,
Wally
man.
Neidorf, right? And but when he was on there, I met Dennis Franz. And Dennis, because he was also on, I think, NYPD Blue after that,
Hmm.
my dad. Um, and then so I met Dennis Franz, and Dennis Franz just like probably the most honest dude. He said, "You know what? I'm just people always ask me if I would if I would take a movie or take another show." He says, "Would I leave this show to take another show?" He goes, "Look, I'm an actor. I'm not even that good." Right? He says, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just going to keep this gig and play it out as long as I can."
Yeah.
And then like I think in his fifth season over there at NYPD Blue, he basically went and uh he did a movie and he was bad. And he was playing a detective.
Well, isn't that like fucking Caruso? Because Caruso was in that fucking Jade movie or whatever the fuck that movie was. Because he was all hot on NYPD Blue, and then Caruso had that one movie. I think it was called Jade, and that was a box office disaster. Let me
Now,
see.
yeah, it's amazing to see that the different types of actors. So Grant Shaw,
Oh God, he looks ghostly now.
who's that?
Caruso, bro.
Oh wow.
Let me show you this right here.
Holy shit, man.
I mean, I get it.
He
Age
looks like
does something to you, but
holy shit.
wow.
Oh man. Is he in the middle of a role? What's he doing? Is he playing a serial killer in a role?
That is scary looking, bro.
Wow.
But
When
some sometimes that happens though. Like I'll see it, like I'll know of an actor or I'll see an actor, and it's been a while since I've seen them, and I'll pull up a picture of them and I'll be like, damn, they look old now. And then I'll be like, well, duh, dude. I'm 43, like, of course, but it's just like but then there's some actors where they're just ageless, like Marissa Tomei. Like, oh my
right.
God, dude, she's like 60 something and she looks like she's in her 30s still. Like, it's just amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they get work, dude. And he's an actor. He doesn't get any work done. He's like I'm an actor. Mad Dog and Glory. That's when I first saw David Caruso was in '93 in Mad Dog and Glory.
Mad Dog and Glory.
And the scene he had in Mad Dog and Glory was just so like this guy's like, oh, this guy's got some, he's gonna get some shit from
Mm-hmm.
this, and he did. Um, let's see, David Caruso, bar scene, Mad Dog and Glory. Or it's like when I first saw him, I was like, I like this guy.
It's on the job.
How you doing, sis? This is my sister.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What, you walking to a door, sis? What, you walking to a door? You're not fucking hitting her or anything, are you?
Okay.
What is your fucking problem?
Tommy, I need your towel. Slip your piece under the towel. Tommy will hold it for you till after. Come on, you fucking hump. Come on, you hero. I want to taste you. Let's go. Come on, get up.
I got no beef with you.
Slip your piece under the towel.
I got no beef with you.
Are you sweet? Is that your problem?
Come on, I'm on the job.
You ain't on my fucking job.
Ha.
Hey, come on.
You lost her address, her phone number. You can't even remember what she looks like. Right? Right?
Yeah, right.
What's her name?
I don't know, okay?
Don't even turn around to say goodbye.
Yikes.
And I love the way they fade the music back up afterwards, so they go back into like the 1970s, R&B. But see, that's who reminds me of this guy?
Hmm.
Guess who this guy? It feels like who's channeling David Caruso in Mad Dog and Glory as a comedian? Bill Burr.
Oh.
Yeah, I see that in Bill Burr, but it's like Bill Burr is like he's got that kind of and it's just the fact that he's like Boston,
Redhead.
Irish, redhead. Yeah. So it's like I'm not saying Bill Burr's like cheating somehow to,
No.
it doesn't matter. And being influenced as an artist, we're all influenced by other people. I
Mm.
can see some of that in him. People say, "Oh, you sound like Bill Burr sometimes." I go, "No, Bill
Bill
Burr
sounds
sounds
like
like
me.
me, bro. I've been around a longer time." He did it right, though. He stayed in town. I was on the road constantly, and I wasn't having the opportunities that were available when you're in LA, playing like the improv constantly in LA. But that's not, it doesn't matter. The fact is that Bill Burr is Bill Burr, and David Caruso was really great. And I think he let the fame go to his head, right?
Yeah, I
You
can
got to
see that.
stay connected to your, because I remember he did the movie Jade or something like
Yeah,
that, and he
that's the one I'm talking
sucked.
about. That shit was horrible.
He was so bad.
It was horrible.
Oh
God
man. And I
damn.
was like, oh dude, don't.
14% Rotten Tomato score.
That's so funny when you base everything on Rotten Tomatoes,
Right?
right? But it's so weird when you get those bad scores. But yeah, so this guy, that guy, Michael, Philip Michael Thomas, you can't sit there and go, oh my God, given talent. Anybody who says that is sucks. I
Yeah.
remember this fucking
Plus,
guy.
with three names, you should be fit. You should have some type of better career. You got three first names.
Right, exactly. You got to, but at least study. At least, but once you start bragging about your talent, there's something missing. When you're
Mm,
bragging about it, it's like look, I write jokes and I'm a pretty good joke writer. And I'm a pretty good teacher at it too. I can show people
yes,
the
you are.
techniques. And so when people are on YouTube saying you're the goat, you know what that says? That it's fun to see that stuff. It really is. Oh, no, it's nice. But you know what that makes me think? The immediate
Try
thought that comes into
harder.
my brain, I got to work harder. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I can't let people down. So
No.
it's like, and I do. I'm constantly working, investigating, studying, reading, and like, oh, here's a new angle. And we work it all the time. We talked about the entropy-based joke writing
Mm-hmm.
last week, and I was realizing how much of it is, what the audience retains. But dude, I like where you're going with that Terrence Howard bit. Now, this guy, Grant Schott,
Mm-hmm.
Grant played Miles Silverberg on Murphy Brown. He was a new actor, and he played this character, Miles Silverberg, perfect for sitcom. Did a great job, and I'd say he was perfect as Miles Silverberg. He's the one that when I was warming up the show, came out and he goes, "Oh my God, who's the warm up? This audience is hot." And I was like, "Oh, that's nice." That was a nice accolade. But
Yeah.
we get into it, and my dad was like, "Son, you should talk to Grant. He's your age. Talk to him about acting and things like that." And I remember him saying to me, we sat down for a second. He goes, "First of all, you have to take acting seriously. You can't, be frivolous about it. Acting is serious. You've got to and he starts talking about all this shit. And I'm like, dude, don't give me that fucking blowhard stuff.
That
You
right.
know,
They'll give you that
it's
shit you
like,
read off the back of a Juilliard
and he
brochure.
kept, yeah, he was giving me that bullshit. And I was like, and I go, I understand, and it was like, but what acting classes are you going to? What do you, that's all I want to know. I just want some insight. And after listening to him and go, you gotta take it seriously. You need to, but of course you're gonna take it seriously, but you also have to be yourself. You also have to, yeah, this is not acting. That's not acting. That's you playing, being, some Shakespearean, our idea of what we think Shakespeare is.
Mm.
I was like, so tell me. I said, do me one favor. Tell me who Hamlet was. Who was Hamlet? To be or not to be. Really? He was a 15-year-old boy trying to figure out whether he had the balls enough to kill his uncle,
Yeah.
because his uncle killed his dad and then took his
Fucked
mom
his mom.
and then fucked his mom. So he's like, do I have the balls to do this? It's not like, and it's like you're tormenting yourself. Can I do this? Can I? And he's alone in his room. He's not to be or not to be. No 15-year-old boy talks like that.
Right?
Even in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're doubting yourself. That's not what's going on. That's a presentation to be or not to be. That's not, it's like, can I? do I have the balls to fucking take this guy out? You know, but so he came at me with the shit. I go, oh no, I'm gonna watch you fucking crash and burn the next show you do. And he did
What was the next
horribly.
show?
He did the Drew Carey show.
Oh, he was on the Drew Carey show?
As a guest star, right?
Oh.
He comes in as a guest star, and it was just awful. I was looking at it, and I was sitting there watching, going, oh, to be or not to be, dude. Just you gotta find your chops, and one of the
Yes.
best ways to find your chops is on that stage doing comedy. Why? Because you have to be in the moment, present, absolutely present with that audience, or they tune out.
Yep.
And when you're really present, you're present and you could feel every tiny little inspiration of emotion that helps that material flow so that each night it's a little bit different because that those inspirations of being in the moment are being affected by all the stimuli that's surrounding you.
And yeah.
Somebody's going to say something a little different to you and you're going to respond, or somebody does respond. It's like that joke about, my best friend in Vegas, right? I noticed how that joke changed when I said my best friend in Vegas. I was having lunch with him and he spilled ketchup on his shirt when he got a text that said his wife's being rushed to the hospital and they lost the baby. And when I say it to you, you're listening to the mechanics of the joke. When I say it to other people, they're like, oh,
We lost the baby.
right? And that's their first thing. Oh, as soon as they say that, oh, I got him. So I'll be like, I said, oh, yeah. And a dude started crying right there. And I get it, man. That was his favorite shirt. And it's like, I'm allowing in telling you this moment right now, this moment is different than when I was delivering it last night. Because last night when I said it to the audience, it was straight, right? They went, oh, and I go, yeah, man. And I get it. That was his favorite shirt. But, and everybody just started, oh, fucker, right? Now, but I immersed myself and put it into story. This brings me to, there was one of my students was talking about, he brought up a very good point. And he said, I did a joke and I thought the joke was good. And the joke was, I remember, the second worst thing that happened to me when I was 6 years old was I got into a horrible traffic accident. Where he said, no, he starts at it. He goes, I was in a horrible traffic accident when I was 6 years old. And that was the second worst thing that happened to me when I was 6. And my girlfriend was like, oh, and he said, he goes, the first worst thing that happened was my parents took my car away.
When he was 6?
That's the joke. His parents were letting him drive. So, but I said, and he said and it gets a good laugh, right? He said, other comics, he's got a really good laugh. And these other comics come up to me, he says, yeah, that's kind of a cute joke and everything. It's cute and all, but it's not, it's from here. It's not from here.
Huh?
Go fuck yourself. Right. So I said, okay, then what you need to do instead is, I think what you're doing is he kind of overloaded the joke with, the tragedy and all the stuff that happened. The car flipped and we're hit from the side and he explains this whole drama of the thing. And then so when he gets to the joke, it's good, but it's not the best, right?
Because of the association gap, because he's adding all that stuff in between.
I think part of that's what's going on, right? So I said, so I was like, all right, dude, what if you just kind of got to the point, right? So let me say, he said, it's like I was in a towable car accident when I was 6 years old. The car was hit from the side when it went airborne, flipped over and landed upside down. That was only the second worst thing that happened to me when I was 6 years old. The worst thing was my parents never let me drive again. Right? I go, not bad joke. Good joke.
Nice
now,
reverse.
I said, it's a good reverse. He said, and they were like, yeah, but it's up here. This is what the comic, it's up here, not down here.
What does that mean?
It's like,
because he's reciting it, or like because it's like a simple joke? Like what the
because
fuck
it's a well-structured joke. But I said, so the thing that might be missing was honest emotion. You're delivering the joke rather than than telling the story. Because what's great is when you have a story and the joke happens as a result of the story. So, and I said, and then I wish I could see the performance. Do you look up and check in with the audience after you do that joke? Like, do you go, he goes, yeah. I go, that's why it's up here and not down here. I said, but you're checking in with the audience. You're delivering a joke. Stay in the scene. Stay in the moment. Right. So I said, and what if we bury it in a little bit of a story? Like we make it a he said, she said. He says, what do you mean? I said, I was talking to my girlfriend and we were talking about when we were kids. And so what, what was your childhood like? Do you have any like moments, like monumental moments in your childhood? He's like, you can tell this is second date stuff, right? The ladies like to know this stuff. They want to know about you, right? So they can use it later on and make fun of you.
Right. They
but
can use it as blackmail so you can do what they want.
Yeah, and I said, let's see if I can. He goes, when I was 6, I was in a horrible car accident. Horrible horror accident. I was in a horrible car accident, and she goes, oh man, yeah, it's like, and it was like we were hit from the side, the car flipped. It was not good. And that was the second worst thing that happened to me. She goes, second worst thing that the first worst thing that happened was my parents never let me drive again. And she didn't know whether to take me seriously or not, but but it was like, but you see what I'm saying? Stay in the story.
Yeah, stay in the story.
Stay in the bit. Now I'm going to show you an example of this. I saved it just for this moment. I'm doing a little YouTube video on it, and it is really staying in the bit, how to stay in the bit. And it goes back to some early Johnny Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can get this up. So yeah, all right. So what I love about this is Vincent Price. Do you know Vincent Price?
Yeah, the dude who's he used to be Count Dracula. He was actually the voice in Thriller. He was one of the voices.
Yes, exactly. You got it. That's awesome.
Yes.
Right? So he does so Vincent Price does this is on the Tonight Show. Mm-hmm. Now, Vincent Price was a horror guy, campy movies. He loved to play into that, but he also was a sketch actor in improv.
I didn't know that.
Know that. Yeah, and he was on Carol Burnett, and so
really,
he's got immaculate comedic timing. And my biggest argument between Johnny Carson and Jay Leno was Jay Leno was in it for the jokes. Johnny Carson was in it for the stories and the information. And for the audience, because he knew, I don't know how he knew this, as we've studied it, is like we know that storytelling is what helped the human being evolve over millions of years, right?
Yep.
6 million, I think, was it 3 million as 300,000 as Homo sapien, but before that, the evolvement of mankind, but all of that storytelling. That's how we evolved, and that's how we survived, was gossip and storytelling. So
storytelling is the sugar for the medicine to make it go down.
That's right. So we're in like that story. The story is what's key. So Johnny also would do bits within the bits, right? So Vincent Price is on the show. He's basically there to pitch his book, his cookbook that he put together with his wife, right? So, and this is like, so he's showing Johnny this interesting way to make fish in a dishwasher. He said, put the fish in the dishwasher. He said, run it through everything except the rinse cycle and even the dry cycle, and it'll cook the perfect fish.
What?
Yeah, so he does this. Now, I'm going to share it with put it up on the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about.
Cooking fish in the dishwasher.
Cooking fish in the dishwasher.
I hate it when people put fish in a microwave. The kitchen smells like horrible. So you can imagine what the... Now all your dishes smell like fish.
So here it is. Let's watch. So here, watch this.
First we'll boil a little. Oh, look, isn't that beautiful? Look at that.
Oh.
Look at that fish. Come on.
So you bone that well. That's the thing that I don't know how to do.
Well, that's just something you have to learn how to do. I've been married so many times, I've learned how to bone anything.
I should be good at this then also.
I was thinking you should be just about the same amount of good at it as I am. Now, you put that aioli sauce on there.
Now, did you know? See, what is what people miss there in that bit is that he stays in the bit. He doesn't sell the joke. He doesn't check in with the audience. He stays in the bit, right? And
Yeah.
he's like his object is to plate the food because he's got these other people that are sitting there at Johnny's desk and he's going to share with people. So he plates the 3 dishes and takes them over there. But the thing is, the joke flows into it. Johnny sets it up. It's all set up. You can see,
Yeah.
oh, that's the boning. I'm not too good at that. Right. And then it's like, I've never been so good at gigs. He says, oh, that's just something you have to learn. Boning is just something you have to learn. Now, I've been married so many times, I've learned how to bone anything.
Yes. That was
And it's
funny.
like, and then he goes right back to working the food. He's not
Yeah.
like, I've been married so many times, I've learned how to bone anything. And he's just moving the fish to the thing. And he's like, he's playing the scene, not
Yeah.
playing the joke. Stop playing the gag. And it's like, why is it up here? Because you're playing the gag, not playing the scene. What is the destination? What are you trying to share with the audience? You're now, if you put yourself in a conversation with a he said, she said, it adds that extra layer, right? And you could say like, so my girlfriend and I, we just like our second or third date, and she was, asking those first date, second date questions, and she's like, well, what's a significant point that stood out in your childhood? And then you ever have this? Ever have girls do this? Like, there's a whole book dedicated, 50 questions to ask on a first date. You should get that book, by the way, Teddy Bean. That's more fodder, right? You can take each one of those questions
Yes, and then
make jokes
it
about
into
them.
something. Yeah.
So, and the reason why she wants to know this information is like we said, like, because,
So she can blackmail me.
so she said later on she's going to remember it. She can blackmail me, and that's a quick little joke. It gets
Yep.
us into the nuance of the story. So she says, and but she said, what was one of the more significant things happened in your childhood? And you're like, what are you, a therapist? But I'm like, oh yeah, well, I when I was 6, she's like when I was 6, I almost drowned. Really? Yeah. But maybe there's a gag in there. I said, well, when I was 6, maybe we could put a gag in there, right?
Yeah.
To make it like a comparison of joke. I almost drowned. And I fell into a puddle or something, right? And it's like, or some sort of crazy ass shit. And then we go, and he goes, well, when I was 6, I was in a horrible car accident. She goes,
Oh my
oh my
gosh.
gosh, so we got hit by hit by the car was hit by the side. It flipped. It was not good. That was the second worst thing that happened. What was the first worst thing? My parents stopped letting me drive. I was like, yeah, so you drowned? Tell me more about that. Stay in the story, stay in the bit.
I like that.
Right? You know what I'm saying? You're not
Yes.
doing it for the joke. You're doing it for the bit. You're doing it for the story. I think
For the
that's
story.
where the layer
Yes.
changes. Has nothing to do up here versus down here. It has to do were you doing a joke or telling a story.
Yeah.
And every joke is a story.
Right. No, 100%.
So
100%.
we go back and look at some of that classic ass shit. People are like, oh, that's old school. Yeah, it's old school. That's why a lot of nuance of today is getting lost. Why is Nate Bargatze making $87.5 million at the box office? Because he encases everything in
The
story.
story.
He's
Yes.
not trying to do jokes. He's just telling the story, and he's encountering these obstacles on the way to a goal. So that's one of the reasons. That's why people are so into it. He's not telling jokes.
Yeah. Speaking of jokes, that article that you sent with Jeff Spurback or however you say his name, were you able to make some jokes off of that?
Yes,
Because
sir.
like I got all like because originally when I first saw the headline, I was like, oh, okay, obviously he was drunk, always drunk. That's what that has to go with it. And then, but then I start reading the article, and then all of a sudden, like my non-comedian side starts coming in. It's like, oh, dude, you don't want to joke about death. You don't want to do it because I was leaning more towards that. And then I go find out that reality star Johnny Bananas, who was in like the MTV's The Challenge, he's basically like the Kenan Thompson of MTV challenges, where this fool's been in there for like decades. But anyways, he was in the golf cart with Elway Spurback. They were coming back from Stagecoach out there up in Palm Springs and shit. and Spurbeck was standing on top of the golf cart. Anyways, long story long, trying to figure it was like trying to like make a joke, but then once I saw that okay, maybe he wasn't drunk, I'm like maybe I don't want to go that route, so I didn't really go anywhere with
Well,
it.
yeah, you don't want to add any new information that's not in the setup. So
Right.
when you're doing, maybe you can, right? You can say, obviously he was drunk, right? And see what you get out of that. But what I like to do is I like to take what's in the setup to start with, at least, and not make shit up. Now you could say, obviously he was drunk. That's still in imagination, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you're not definitely putting it you're not saying this absolutely is what happened. You're giving it that nuance of that nuance of a possibility or imagination. So when that happens, you can then have more free range with creative license with what you do with the joke, right?
Right.
So in this particular case, if I just sort of do one thing I liked about the joke is like, think about it. He fell out of a golf cart um, that Elway was driving, right? A famous quarterback, John Elway, is driving a golf cart with his friend and an agent of
Yes.
20 years and 40 years, and he falls out of the golf cart. It's like, what is this? What is this, Russia? You're falling out of windows all of a sudden, right? It's like you fall out of a golf cart and you hit your head and die. It's going 12 miles an hour. And it's like, who would have thought you start your day playing golf, you end your day
They
being charged with
manslaughter.
manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. It's like golf, the only sport where you can start your day having a good time and end your day being charged with involuntary manslaughter. Now he wasn't charged, but your death's
No.
fine. So that's part of where I went. But what I loved about it was and this is on Yahoo, by the way, which is shaping back up as a really good source for jokes because the way
No,
they're
seriously, Yahoo has a great way of giving you something because it gave me. I was looking at a Yahoo article about Belichick and Jordan
yes,
Hudson,
yeah.
and what it gave me because they had called it a May December relationship. So I came up with this joke. I'm all. I've heard of a May December relationship, but with Bill Belichick being 73 and Jordan Henderson being 24, that's more like a BCAD relationship.
That's a good compare and contrast, dude. I like
Yeah.
it.
Thank
Wow,
you.
nice,
Bill was
nice,
born
nice.
in 1952, Jordan born in 2000. One watched Neil Armstrong walk the moon, the other watched Elsa build ice castles.
Nice. Yeah, good tag. I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Nah, really good. That's a good tag on top of that. So it's like you're not just doing one joke. You're like, and the whole thing has got to be what is your emotional point of view on this?
Yes. Oh, I'm an ageist. So my whole thing is I'm an ageist. Like I'm
There
not
you
all
go.
about
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm all about like there age is age sometimes what's that saying? Age is nothing but a number.
Yeah.
But after a 50-year age gap, that's more like a fucking lawsuit.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the 30-year age gap, but not a 50-year age gap.
I'm familiar with the thigh gap, but a
Yeah.
50-year age gap, I don't know about all that.
Right, exactly. Now, so here we have Spurbeck dies after falling out of a golf cart, reportedly driven by John Elway, Southern California. Now, I was doing this exercise with my student Will Hamilton, and he started doing the listening technique, and he came up with a lot of golf-related scenarios. Take this, I want you to do it as an exercise, and then just take it and do everything golf.
Mm-hmm.
People, places, things, words, phrases, cliches, events. The good news is before he fell out of the cart, Elway did yell for. So there's anything, right?
Yeah.
It's just a start, and it just opens it up to 12 miles an hour sort of thing. And so if you just do the listening technique, golf, and stop looking for the funny.
Yes.
Just get the
That's
listening
thing.
technique
Yes,
together
yes,
first,
yes,
and then
yes,
you'll
yes.
find the coincidental tie-ins to golf, death, or accident. You could even add more from the golf, death, accident, and it's like plus involuntary manslaughter, that kind of thing comes in there. Elway, there's how many
Does Elway
terms?
have a drinking problem?
Football, something dealing with in the pocket, right? Throwing a Hail Mary, that kind of thing. Everything related to football. Now you can see, and it's after he's like, "Oh my God, Hail Mary." Uh, he called 911. Elway called 911, which is like the emergency post out route, the post up route. It sounds like a play call. 23
he
9
told
1
he
1.
told Jeff to go long, not to dive.
Yeah. I told you, dude, I told you to go long, not dive. That's funny, dude. There you go. See? But it happened just by doing the listening technique. It
Yeah.
didn't happen by thinking of the jokes,
No,
right? So
no,
doing the work pays off to get
no,
the
no, it
jokes.
does.
Dude,
I'm
that's a
really
really
starting to
good
see it.
joke.
I'm really
Dude,
starting to see it.
Elway Elway going, dude, dude,
Told you to
I
go
told you to
long.
go long, not
Don't
dive.
dive.
Oh, that's hysterical. And it's like, so that's a really good joke. So that comes out of that. Now, as I was scrolling, I come across, right? So I hit this one first. Like just a story or two later, I
Mhm.
hit this one. This one shows up. And the story, just look at the headline, not the picture. Um, Police investigating after carts stolen at Kansas City golf course. I said, I think we have a serial involuntary manslaughter killer out there. Also, Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right. That
Didn't
ties.
Elway buy into Kansas City?
Did he?
Into the Chief? No, Diddy
I'm not.
did never. I don't think Diddy was
I,
into football.
I like
So,
that.
so we have we have police investigating after cart stolen at Kansas City golf course, and right away, what a coincidence that like carts stolen. Well, it's like I think it's a serial killer because they usually do steal the vehicle, right? So and there's more in there. So what a coincidence that would show up late, just like the same April 28th, April 30th, around the same time,
Time that the
right?
whole thing with
So I
Elway
think
and his thing.
that's what I found funny was that came in there and it was like, and again, it extends the piece. Now you can go, I don't know, 2 days later, golf carts were actually stolen at, you can even say to the audience, 2 days later, I read a story that came up and said police investigating after carts stolen at Kansas City golf course. Why would I say it that way? To let the audience know, right, about this story. And when I read the headline again, they believe it's true. It gives it authority. So they're not thinking you're just doing a joke. They get locked into the serious again. Drops the expectation for laughter
And then
because I'm trying to share a story with you about these carts that were stolen at a Kansas City golf course. And then we could do jokes about the Kansas City Chiefs, look up what Elway's relationship was with the Chiefs,
and then
and
find more relationships to
find
that,
more
link it
tie-ins to
together.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up.
It's a way to pivot.
So, like what you were just saying though about like with the whole, you mask it in the story to bring the expectation down. But in my
Yes.
head, it's like, well, people are coming to a comedy show to laugh. So isn't their expectation like gonna be like, hey, I'm waiting for you to make me laugh, buddy?
Their expectation is a lot more serious, deep, evolvement level deep, meaning I have no choice when you start telling a story, right? And in that story, you can make the story funny along the way,
Uh-huh.
but they're involved in the story. It's just like when I was talking to I was dating this girl, and she's like, went back to that joke with my other student. He was like, I'm dating this girl, and she's like, um, she says, what were one of those significant things that happened when you were a child? You ever see this? Women like to do this. Like she has a whole book of 50 questions to ask on a first date, and it's like, it actually gets it's a good icebreaker, but it's also, I know what it is, really. It's the ammunition. They retain all that in their file cabinet. They're going to use it to blackmail you later in the relationship, so it's like then people are chuckling at that as you're going along. They're also feeling it because they're in a relationship too.
Yeah.
If they can feel themselves in the situation you're establishing, you got them, right? And it's almost necessary. They've got to be able to feel or mirror the underdog in a way to feel like they've been there, they've done that. I can feel that. I can smell the car of the first time I had sex or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're in it.
You're putting them into like
Yeah,
they're
you're giving them a
associated to the
situation that
story.
they've lived, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, so she says to me, what were one of the significant things that happened when you were a kid? Because I remember when I was a kid, I almost drowned. Yeah, I fell in a puddle or something like that. Whatever it is, whatever the joke is you come up with for her. And that's
Right.
going to be your job too. You're going to come up with a joke with or the girlfriend, the imaginary girlfriend saying, when I was 6, I almost died. I almost drowned. Yeah. And it was like, where could she drown? Right? At the beach,
A kiddie
um,
pool, or is
kiddie
that
pool.
trying to go for the funny? Me saying a kiddie pool,
Yeah. Like, I almost like,
bathtub.
I had a swimming accident. Yeah. My dad
I
used to,
almost drowned trying to wash my hair in the sink.
yeah, wash my hair in the sink. So my dad we didn't have a diving board, so my dad would take me and throw me into the deep end. And my mother used to hate it. And they finally agreed that my dad can throw me in the deep end as long as he filled up the pool with water
Ah,
first. So it's like so that could be one joke, you getting in there, right? And then
yeah.
he said, well, I remember when I was 6, I was in a horrible car accident. And oh my God. She's like, oh my God. And then now you can do the joke. Now you're telling the story. And that's what he said, she said. Like you can take a simple joke. You can take like she's so dumb,
Hmm.
right? So I was doing jokes about she's so dumb, right? And it's like a silly joke. And so the joke was she's so dumb. She thought capitalism was texting in uppercase, right? So I was like, all right, that's a simple joke. Where would I ever use that when I was talking to an audience, though? Mel, let me build it into a story. So my wife and I were like having this is before the divorce. Oh yeah, she served me on Valentine's Day. No, the true story just happened. Oh, I'm
Someone's at the
so
door.
sorry. Yeah, yeah.
I love
Someone's at
that.
the door.
That's such a great word. Someone's
She's
at
like,
the door.
someone's at the door. Someone's at the door.
Someone's at the door.
And she's like, yeah, someone's at the
Someone's
door.
at the
She didn't know
door.
what I was doing with the joke, so I go out there because I've been served before,
Like a
right?
who's on first.
So I go out there and the guy's like, oh, he's trying to act like he has a petition for me to sign. I go, dude, just give it to me. I know what it is. Just give me the thing. You're here to serve me. He goes, I already know. She already told me. She told you? Yeah, she told me. She said someone's at the door. And he goes, what? She said someone's at the door. So he pulls back the people and he goes, I don't know. Someone's at the door. So he pulls it because I was trying to let him. He wasn't getting it. So he pulls out the sheet, right? And what's it say right on it? Summons.
Summons.
See? Summons at the door.
The door.
And he goes, "Oh shit, dude, I appreciate you. Thanks for making this easy." Right? Like it's just your job, man. And then I fucking clocked him. No.
Ah! Hit him right in the kisser.
Why would he be mad at the messenger? Who cares? I knew what's happening. I wish it would have happened at the Comedy Store. Then there would have been, someone's at the door there, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I forgot. So she was, yeah, divorced, and so we were one day having a glass of wine, start talking about. She's talking about our previous people we dated. Like, what were some of the previous people you dated? I said, yeah, I dated one, and I didn't want to say, oh man, I was dating this really sexy lady or anything. So I said, I dated a girl one time. She was like really kind of dumb. Like she thought capitalism was texting in uppercase. And my wife was like, "Oh man, that mustn't have lasted very long." I said, "6 years." She was hot. But I'm building in the story, and in the
Yeah.
story, there's tension. She said, I said, she said. The audience has no choice but to be in the story
Story.
with the he
Okay.
said, she said, because you have tension and release. So then what happened next? You know, they put themselves in the position of having a similar conversation with their significant other? Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And the other piece I'm working on is oh, by the way, my student Prin, she is like she's in New York and she just went to see Shane Gillis
Oh.
last Friday night, and she was like, "What should I wear?" I go, "Jeans and a hoodie." It's Shane Gillis,
It's
man.
Shane Gillis show.
But she had like outfit she was gonna wear, like a black duster and or a kind of a pantsuit outfit, or a nice cocktail dress, very pretty black dress with a black duster on it to be somewhat more conservative, not stand out. And she had this other one that was just like boom, this top that was like, I go, okay, that's good if you're going to see a rap,
Right?
concert.
A
People
comedy
dressed to the
show,
nines. This is Shane Gillis. But she goes, I don't wear a hoodie and jeans on a night out. I go, I like that. I like to stand out too. I usually always wear a jacket, you know. So it's like a jacket and a t-shirt. It's mostly, but it's always I gotta wear. You gotta stand out a little bit. You gotta let them know that you're the man. You're
Yeah.
in charge. It's a Billy Crystal thing. Always dress better than your audience. That's
Always
what he
dress better
used to
than the
say. But
audience.
Shane Gillis is like, no, man. I take it the other way,
I dress worse than my audience. Him and
right?
David Tell.
So it's like, but hey, you're a comedian. You do what matches your persona.
Yeah.
And I don't judge anybody on what they wear on stage. Just bring the funny. But anyway,
Bring it.
she thought she was thought it was she thought it was interesting. I was surprised because she didn't like come down on it. But she goes like he's very blue collar centric, but he had some interesting points of view, and he kind of hides his politics. He hides what side he's on, right? So
Mhm.
you can't figure it out. Yeah, I remember that from the last special. He talked about his dad being very conservative and being lost in the Kool-Aid of Fox News, but he never, and making fun of his dad for that, but he never said he was
Actually, right. Yeah,
right,
right. Right
right. He
person.
never, which is probably good for now, right?
Yeah, for now. Until
So,
they tell him, yo, motherfucker, pick a side.
and Bill Burr had been sort of coming out with some political, angles lately.
Mhm.
So that's interesting. But I just saw an interview with him. They were asking about the reporter was asking about it, and he just denied it. He said, "No, I don't watch TV." He says, "I don't watch TV. I like, the most news I get is on Instagram. I don't do that. That's your job. That's your job to ask the tough questions. But you guys need to grow your balls back." And I was
Yeah.
like, he was dead on it, but he has been leaning into the politics a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's super interesting to see Bird because we do need somebody to speak truth to power. What is your take on that?
What, on the whole birth situation or
No, in politics in general.
politics in general? I mean, it's
As a black man,
as
how
a
do you
black man,
feel about?
well, maybe like uh I find it very hypocritical. I find a lot of hypocrisy in it. I try to find. I mean, I'm finding some jokes in it and whatnot, but it's hard, dude. Because again, like I'm still a baby to all this, so it's like trying to walk that line of not being consumed by it and then like getting enraged and just I'm in here for the joke. Find the take the information that you need to build the
Yeah,
joke and then
yeah.
get the hell
So,
out.
so the antagonism, remember teaser, right? So antagonism, TEA, antagonism is where the joke comes from. What
Mm,
pisses you off? What, like, take the shit that drives you crazy, make it funny, was George Carlin used to say that to me.
yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh, that's he gave me the green light to be visceral with the jokes. Like, so and a lot of people aren't into it, but right now there's a niche, there's a missing piece in our comedy world because we don't have anybody who's really talking truth to power. I got to see what Wanda Sykes is doing recently, and Samantha Bee, because
Mm.
those are truth to power voices. Wanda Sykes is always really good at that. And then, but male, who do we have on the male side that's speaking truth to power?
What about
We know
it's
Bill Maher isn't doing it.
not Mar. Why can't I think of his name now? Daily Show. Jon Stewart, isn't he?
Jon
Or
Stewart,
is he
definitely.
has he retired from comedy or is he still
I don't know if he's doing stand up because I mean he retired from the Daily Show the first time because it was exhausting.
yeah.
That's every single day writing a show and producing a show. That's taxing, right? And it's got to be so spot on. And he
Mhm.
does such a good job with it. But he doesn't right now probably doesn't have any time to do some stand up. So he might, who knows? He might basically when he does his run. So I think he signed on for a year. He may stay on till till Trump's out, but and hopefully it's because he's out cold. Um, or what I would like to see is the Democrats take over the Congress again, just like they did the last time the Republicans pulled tariffs. They wound up losing power for 40 years. So if that happens, then we're going to see Trump be lame duck and wind up with a powerful Congress that basically impeaches him, and he finally gets what he deserves. And then, but we'll see what happens.
That
I
prison
mean,
sentence.
we'll see. I don't know, man. It's too there's too much shit going on. But the idea is like um, where when you find those ideas that you feel are bothering you.
Mm-hmm.
Just start jotting them down. What is it about it that bothers you? Do some research, find some facts. Like I'm doing this bit on, think I told you before, the placenta bit,
Yeah.
and it's now expanded out overall to, because what I got was great feedback. I did the bit, and it's short. It's not really doing what I want it to do, but it's still got a good laugh, right? It's basically just talking about the donating the placenta. They ask you to donate it, but then the street value of a placenta is like $50,000, according to one CEO
Right.
of a company that uses stem cells from the placenta. Then another CEO said, well, if you can consider all the after birth products, that's what he calls them, after birth products. Who would have thought? Right?
After birth products.
Yeah,
What
after
about
birth
before
products.
birth?
Yeah, right. That like the cord, the amniotic fluid, the placenta,
Yeah.
all of those things combined, he says it's $500,000. So I was like, oh shit, really? And they charge us about 40,000 for the labor and birthing. We get charged for this. We get a bill for this. And then they donate the placenta. You donate the placenta, and then they take that placenta, and someone's making money, right? The Regenix
Mm-hmm.
place is getting, it's getting an IPO, but the donator doesn't get jack shit, right? Because it's illegal to sell human tissue.
Hmm.
You can throw it away, but you can't sell it. You can destroy it, but you can't sell it
Sell it.
because that would be immoral. But to basically take somebody's shit from them and then go out, sell it on the black market or on the market and have it turned into anti-aging products, that is now a $40 billion a year industry, right? And it's like and then and get this, take the stem cells, do some repair for burn victims, anti-aging, smoothing it out, the stem cell sort of whole thing with the vampire facials, and
Seriously now.
micro needling, all that shit. And it's like you could sell that, but the person who donated the placenta
Don't get shit.
don't get shit, right? And so one of the people in the
Go have
audience
another baby.
said, "Oh, you have some, yeah, you're sharing some of your your angst about capitalism, right?" And I go,
Yes.
"No, because this is not capitalism. This is some other economic strategy that I don't know of. Because one of the tent poles of capitalism is that everybody gets something.
Free market.
The free market. The manufacturer who puts in all the labor, literally, puts in the time, the sacrifice for developing the product over 9 months,
9 months of development.
had to fuck somebody that maybe they don't even like, and then they have the labor, the actual labor, the sweat, blood, tears,
Literally.
blood, sweat, literally. They get nothing. Everybody else gets paid.
They get the bill, and hopefully their insurance covers it.
And you get a fucking bill for doing that. You don't even get any of you don't reap any of the rewards.
And then you possibly have to get postpartum depression.
Yes, and that is not capitalism, right? Explain to me what that is. That's some sort of like benevolence and communism combined.
That's some dystopian type
Right?
fucking George Orwellian shit going on.
And you could expand it out to organ donations and things like that about how you get fucked.
Yes.
Just totally fucked. And I'm going to expose this shit because I think this is a big deal and it is going on constantly. Human beings are being denied by law to be able to sell their tissue on the market, right? And of course, we understand there's ethical reasons. We don't want to be immoral about it while we're stealing from the mother who gave her placenta. Doesn't make any fucking sense. You see, it's again the government impeding a woman to be able to get paid from her body. And it's like,
I like that. That's
why not?
another-
So basically, think about this, right? You get fucked to actually put the baby in you.
You get fucked.
You have the baby. You get fucked when they give you the bill. You get fucked when you donate your placenta and they sell it to somebody else for $50,000. But if you get paid to get fucked, you go to
You're a bad
jail.
woman. Yes.
So
I
it's
love
like
it.
that's what I'd like. See, what I'm saying is like what we
Yes.
did there is point out the irony. Doesn't need to be a
Yes.
punchline.
No.
We have the irony. The irony is like it's also the irony of like, oh, we don't want to do that. That would be immoral. Selling your organs. It's like they're gonna fucking throw it away or destroy it anyway, right? It's like technically that's what they say, but no, it goes. They don't throw it away. Bullshit. You donate it. It goes immediately some Chinese fucking black market company that bakes it, powders it, puts it in a capsule, and then sells it. You don't think that's true? Look it up.
Go to Gwyneth Paltrow's website.
You got to license. You got to license your body, ladies. License
to-
that shit. Who knows? They're gonna find out that like ladies have fucking shit that has stuff in it that you could fucking sell, right? There's stuff we don't know
dude,
about, right?
100%, man. 100%, dude. Handmaid's Tale all the way, dude.
Yeah. Why do you
All
think
the
I'm?
way,
You know,
man.
I'm 80 years old and I look so youthful. I eat pussy. There's some anti-aging shit in there going on, and we don't know about that. I don't know. I don't.
That's good shit, dude.
So, but you
Good
see,
shit.
that comes from the angst. So I don't
Yes.
want you to run away from that angst. I want you to put down and start mapping it out and find the irony in there. Because that's like where it starts to get visceral and you really start to connect. Because remember, audiences connect with what?
Emotion.
Emotion. We can laugh, but we're laughing. But I get the head to the soul
Yeah.
thing. But that's one thing. But if you put it in the story, now they
Well,
feel themselves in that story.
I think I did have some good emotion with my Terrence Howard bit because
Yes, definitely.
when I performed it this past Thursday, one of the comedians I hadn't seen her in a while is dude, I really liked your bit. She's like, damn, dude, what did Terrence Howard do to you to piss you off?
That's funny. Well, he's bullshitting. That's what he's doing.
Like, yeah.
I get pissed off when people bullshit me, and that sounds like a whole bunch of bullshit. Because I think Terrence Howard, just look at him, man. He's too pretty to be hetero.
Dude,
You can even put that. You can put that into the.
I have that in my. So I'm
He's
all like,
way too pretty to be hetero.
on my joke number 3, I sit there and I say, Terrence really wants to sound macho with him turning down the role, but let's keep it 100. Terrence sounds like he's insecure with his masculinity because he's scared. He's scared if he fully surrenders to the character of Marvin Gaye, people are going to start asking him, "What's going on with his sexuality?" and wondering, does he only get sexual healing from meetups on Grindr or in restroom truck stops?
Yeah. He's going to write a new song called Glory Hole, Glory Hole.
Glory Hole, Glory Hole.
So, but yeah, I thought the other one, I think with that joke, rewrite the ending where sexual healing is the last 2 words.
Just make the less, so instead of doing all that, just have it be.
No, where it just go back to say this sexual healing joke again.
Oh, so he's scared. He's scared he'll fully surrender to the character of Marvin Gaye, that people are gonna start asking him, what's going on with his sexuality.
Oh yeah, when it comes to his sexuality, they're going to start asking, "What's going on?" So that's the last. Sexuality. They're going to start asking,
"What's going on?"
There it is. Yeah,
that makes better sense.
Yeah. So it's just ending with that lyric, because I think you kind of step on it if you say with his sexuality afterwards.
I did kind of step on it too, because they laugh at the "what's going on" because of the coincidence of the song,
and they recognize it.
Yes.
So remember when I was sitting there, I was at an open mic, and I'm like sitting there in the audience, and I'm just jotting down something, and or responding to a text. I forget what it was, but I wasn't paying attention to the joke, and I just heard the comedian say something that I recognized, Sesame Street, or some branded statement, Home Depot, and I just chuckled. Because, if he could have said Stairway to Heaven, I don't want because Stairway to Heaven shows up in the middle of a bit, and I recognize that name, and what a coincidence that name can show up into a story I don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it suddenly makes sense to me. Oh, Stairway to Heaven, I know what that is. Or if you said something even more personally involved, Alaska Airlines,
Mm.
right? And it's like, oh, because my soon-to-be ex-wife
Yeah.
is, and thanks for
pilot for
correcting
them.
me on that. Is is a pilot for that airline.
Saturday Night Live had a good 3-way because I was watching their cold open this past weekend or yesterday because of cause the way the news made it seem, they made it seem like SNL had like a cold open about Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. So I kind of wanted to see it to see how did they do it and everything like that. But it wasn't that. So basically, it was the cold open was the dude who's now doing the Trump impersonations. I kind of prefer Baldwin's Trump.
Yeah, I don't like this guy doing his Trump. I don't like him.
I don't really like him that much. His voice is on spot on because my son was like, "Dad, you're over there watching the Trump stuff," and I'm like, "Nah, dude, it's SNL. It's just a impersonator." But anyways, one of the 3-way jokes was he was all like, because Trump's signing all his executive orders, and one of the executive orders was to bring back Columbus Day. So he's all like, "Yeah, I'm bringing." Are you laughing at my son in the background?
Yeah, he's funny.
Kaiser the entertainer. But he's Columbus Day, we're bringing back Columbus Day, and then Trump's all, "Yeah, I want to bring this back, so we can celebrate the Italians, Tony Soprano, Billy Blanco, Childish Gambino." And I just started busting up because it was like, I love that 3-way buildup because Childish Gambino does sound like it's an Italian name, but it's a black dude and he's a rapper. And I was like,
right,
that's a good
right.
3-way right there.
Good that's good.
Yeah.
That's nice that they did that. It's like, again, you'd have to be up on what's happening there, right?
Yes.
So I was like, I think I heard that name. Where is that? I think he's a musician, right?
Billy Blanco? Billy Blanco's a DJ,
like,
yeah. Oh, Childish Gambino.
Childish
Yeah,
Gambino,
a rapper, yeah.
So that's a nice way. And the coincidence that the contrast of Gambino is a famous mob family, and then also Childish Gambino is a rapper.
Yep. And
Right.
so it falls into the whole Italian thing. And I was like, no, that's fucking good. Because I always try to and it helped me too, because it's like, I always just try to go for the wacky when it comes to that third beat. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that wacky. It just has to fit in and
that one's nuanced. Yeah. That one's really nuanced. I like that because it's like, it's not a completely opposite of expected. Childish Gambino, the nuance, what a coincidence that Childish Gambino is a rapper, but Gambino sounds like a mob family, right?
Yep.
I wonder how the raps would be, a mob family. It's like, what would those raps be like now? It's like...
Right.
Things about doing I kind of like the same thing like some of the thug raps would be, because those are basically the same type of gang,
pretty much
make them dance,
having a swimming with the fishes.
Yeah.
My new I'm hitting the block with my new cement shoes.
Right, and then that sort of thing, right? Exactly. I like it.
You like my new Air Jordan, my new Air Force One cement blocks?
Yeah, you'd have cement blocks with the Jordan logo on them. Just do it. Yep, splash.
Okay, Kaiser, that's not necessary.
He's really
he's hamming it up, right?
Hamming it up.
I think we're
at the 2 hour.
We're at the 2 hour mark. All right, y'all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoy my little fan in the background right there. Don't mind him. He's not dying. He's not having any
epileptic seizures.
He's not being possessed by a devil or anything like that. He's just my offspring. All right, y'all. I'm Teddy B.
I'm Jerry Corley, aka the Joke Doctor.
And I'm AKA the Joke Doctor's assistant, working on getting my Joke Doctor's license so I don't get filed or get sued for malpractice. I'm telling you, one of these outros, I'm gonna get it right. All right, y'all. We appreciate you. Peace.
Peace.
All right.